Halo fans, welcome back to another episode on Halon's YouTube channel. We are reviewing episodes 3 and 4, Visegrad and Reach. Sorry I wasn't able to get up the other episode, the review for episode 3 last week. A little busy with IRL job, and it keeps me very, very, very busy indeed. So yeah, but I'm going to try and stay on top of this stuff for you guys, make sure that we continue to pump this out. So we're just kind of diving straight into it. Episode 3 really, moved the narrative a little bit. What was kind of, not super exciting, as most of us predicted, obviously, Cobalt. I got a lot of gripes kind of with this episode a little bit, but some of the main points that I want to talk about was, obviously, we know that Cobalt has obviously been dispatched by the Covenant. They were reviewed to be KIA, as Ackerson and Keys had the conversation later in the episode regarding this, and of course showing their bodies, and they wanted to keep it off screen. Ackerson had known that the chief was not going crazy and that the Covenant were indeed on Reach, and he was looking to just evacuate high-ranking personnel to live to fight another day, which I am not totally against that mentality when it comes to war TV shows or movies, or just in instances of war in general. Live to fight another day. I absolutely applaud that mentality. However, I do not like the way that he was portraying it in a way it's just like, I don't give a shit about anybody else. I'm really just getting out of here, and Keys, you're my boy, so come on through. Still weird hearing him being called Admiral Keys. The episode starts out with, obviously, Silver Team going to Visegrad Relay Station to try and locate Cobalt. Nothing there. They're interrupted by what seems to be Oni Special Forces, to which in turn they are now grounded indefinitely until further notice. Kai seems to kind of be going on a side mission, perhaps going off planet with Ackerson and retreating probably to Earth at that point, with him to help him potentially maybe start the Spartan 3s. Not really sure. Like I said, episode 3 really didn't do a whole lot for me. I guess that's probably why I didn't jump on the review too much for that. So, but it just, I don't know. And then we get a little bit more in-depthness with the Ackerson and Dr. Halsey inside the prison. Obviously, Soren's brought in there, kind of making that Ackerson's thinking that maybe something violent's going to go down there, but obviously really not how that turns out. Just overall episode 3, I really kind of give it like a 2 out of 10. It really didn't do a whole lot for me up until basically the end, where Chief has the conversation with the Corporal Perez and inside the church, and explosions start happening on Reach. And you know what? I'm just going to kind of dive straight into episode 4 here, because they did so much right with this episode, and they also did so much wrong. It was literally on both extremes. Diving into it, just Reach, this action, the dialogue scenes were done pretty well in this episode, in my opinion. These are kind of the dialogue scenes I want to see out of Halo. And I don't know, just before, I'm going out of order, kind of sporadic here, but oh well. Listen, I don't know who I want to give the person who decided to do this, but whoever did this, first time I'm ever going to give the script writers any type of credit. But whoever came up with this scene of after all the chaos happens, I'll dive into that in just a second, but the Master Chief and his interaction with Corporal Perez, where she's like, you're just going to walk off and say goodbye? And then the Chief just looks at her and just kind of walks away. That is the most Master Chief thing I think we have seen in this Halo show, period. That is straight video game, straight book, comic book, graphic novel, whatever. That is canon Halo Master Chief right there. The only thing that could have made it even more Master Chief if he was in his suit and would have said something along the lines of, goodbye, Corporal Perez, and walked away. That was probably the most Master Chief he has been, that the actor Pablo has had the opportunity to be able to portray this entire time. The most Master Chief thing. So hats off to him for that. But kind of starting the beginning of the episode, you know, we kind of get into the immediate destruction of Reach with the Covenant bombarding it from the from space. And I mean, as much as I love this destruction and all this chaos and action with the Chief and Corporal Perez, you know, obviously going in there and taking out the Cloaked Elite, or as the Cloaked Elites are coming into like kind of the store area after all the chaos is going on outside, and everybody seems kind of calm, which is kind of weird to me with all the chaos happening like 2 blocks away. But they go in there, they take out a couple Cloaked Elites, that goes down. Then there was a nice little store that Corporal Perez and the Chief had discovered with antiques of the 21st century, because technically Halo takes place in the 26th century. So it was nice to see, you know, some little antiques in there. And I don't know if you guys caught it or not, but all right on the shelf in there was an original Xbox, which is pretty nice that they threw that in there. Not bad. Whoever decided to do that, that was pretty cool. Hats off to you. And I'm just going to continue to talk about all things I like with this episode before I kind of get into the gripes of what I didn't like. But they continue fighting through the streets, eventually meet up with Silver Team. So weird to see all these Spartans out of their armor, but not going to get into that right now. And they're going through and continuing to fight in the streets against all the Covenant. This is just what I've been waiting to see. I mean, I made a tweet about it. This is the type of Halo. This is what we've wanted to see out of the Halo show. Just episodes of continuous non-stop action, because this is a freaking war, people. This is a war between humans and aliens, and this is just what we wanted to see this entire time. Not this boring character bullshit dialogue stuff. Give us the Master Chief, his team of Spartans, and a bunch of Marines just fighting the Covenant non-stop. Doesn't have to be a gunshot flying every single freaking frame, and that contradicts a little bit what I just said, but just overall, we don't need full episodes of just unnecessary dialogue and weird character building. We need the action and the building of the characters in the midst of firefights, right out of a firefight, straight into another one, something of that nature. And that's what we got throughout this episode. And then the nice little speech that Captain Keys gave, or I'm sorry, Admiral Keys gave to his Marines and all the Marines that were still there on Reach, letting them know that, hey, listen, this is a suicide mission. More than likely, we are not going to make it out of this. But you're giving humanity a chance to fight and preserve the well-being of the species. You're giving a chance for your children, your grandchildren to hopefully thrive in a world, or in a galaxy rather, where the Covenant in this war no longer does exist. Pretty awesome, pretty straightforward way they did that. Very, very, very nice. With the Silver Team, of course, they have no idea where Kai is. They don't know that she's left the planet, so it's just left with Vanic and Riz and the Master Chief. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I basically turned back into like almost like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old when that Scorpion came up out of the back from behind Silver Team and just pulled up. I was so giddy at that point because that Scorpion looks so good. Again, the special effects crew, CGI, who's ever in charge of making Halo look the way it does, raise every episode. They continue to earn their paychecks with how beautiful everything looks. And also, before I forget, I do want to give a big shout out again to Mr. Marvin Kondon Jones III. His character didn't get a whole lot of screen time. Didn't expect them to have an actor of his caliber to be on the show for very long. Went out like a badass, taking out that Wraith with the the grenade packet, and of course shooting the grenade launcher a little blind and whatnot. Phenomenal acting job out of him and his character. Just awesome, phenomenal. And that Wraith looked just great. Looked phenomenal. Of course, we get the encounter with the Chief and what is supposedly supposed to be the Arbiter for this series, to which, pretty good, not too bad, pretty good fight. Then actually, and I was very, very happy to kind of see this, the Elites, for most people that are kind of casual Halo fans and not hardcore nerds like myself, the Elites are a species that is very bounded together by honor and respect. And that carries into war as well. So therefore, when the Master Chief got blasted with a charged plasma pistol by another Sangheili warrior, the Arbiter of such did not like that, did not appreciate that, and in turn sliced his head off for disrespecting the essential 1v1 that was already spoken without words between the Chief and the Arbiter that was supposed to go on, which I thought was phenomenal. Somebody's actually paying attention to real Halo lore there. absolutely awesome, phenomenal. I thought the interaction between Dr. Halsey and Soren was great with the building right there, and then overall, just this episode, just with the action nonstop and just the character dialogues and building in this episode is done a lot better when there's so much going on for them to do and have to handle. So, but that's pretty much the end of what I didn't like. So now we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna jump straight into what I didn't like about this episode. A couple key things, really. Number one, big spoiler. Why the hell did we kill Admiral Keys? Who's going to be in charge of the Pillar of Autumn now when they decide to go, if they even keep that same ship name? Who knows what they're even going to call the ship now at this point. Admiral Keys is dead. Who's going to be the commander of the Pillar of Autumn when they discover Halo? Vanic's dead. Probably my favorite character of, as far as the Spartans go, my favorite Spartan out of everybody, dead. And then the other big thing, why in the world did Admiral Keys, like, what was going on in Ackerson's head that said, you know what, yeah, we're going to ground Silver Team, but we're also going to take their armor away. We're going to take their armor and take it with us. More, which is what I thought Admiral Keys was alluding to when he told the chief, hey, listen, they took your armor. Armor's not here anymore. So I was thinking that's what they were alluding to, but I'm like, okay, well, why would we do that? Because, and even for a narrative standpoint, it's just, the Spartans are supposed to be in their armor. The Spartans are supposed to be in their armor, and this was also something that didn't make sense to me too. Cobalt team was wiped out. That was something I didn't like. Now, obviously, we knew it was going to happen based upon the story they were setting up, but it's something I didn't like, simply because the scriptwriters and the storyboard individuals, people putting the narrative story together, do not understand what Spartan 2s really are compared to the rest of the human fighting, the UNSC and Halo. Spartan 2s are basically an army of essentially Captain Americas, if you will. These guys are not to be taken down easily. And the fact that elites, like standardized elites, were able to ambush them and take them down is a little ridiculous to me. If it was a class or a group of, we'll call it maybe the Zealots, or high-ranking ultra elites, okay, like Ratas Vadem, Half-Jaw, for those that don't know the names of the elite character from Halo 2 and Halo 3, Shipmaster, if you will. Or if there was a bunch of Thel Vadems, the Arbiter, maybe I could see it happening then. Or if it was a group of Atriox as brutes from the Banished, okay, maybe. But some standardized elites, really? Come on now. Another gripe of mine that I've had with this show. Why the hell have we only seen the grunts in one episode, essentially? Well, I guess we can call it what? 2 with the one episode in season 1, and then the series, and then the season finale of season 1. Why have we only seen, this is the fall of Reach, and all we're seeing is elites? Like, the elites are like not to be coming in these massive groups. The elites are to be commanders of small grunts. If anything, the grunts are cannon fodder. We should be seeing, I don't know if it's just they don't have, if they just want to do it because the elites are cool or whatever, but I don't know what's up with the lack of grunts. Very disappointed by that. Need to see more grunts in there. However, another nitpick thing I have, why is every single elite that we were seeing in a shot carrying a freaking energy sword? Again, high-ranking members of the elites, the Zealots, the Ultras, the Shipmasters. Those are the guys that carry energy swords. If you've even played some of the games or whatnot, when did you ever see the blue elites or the red elites carrying swords? Never. Didn't see that narrative story-wise. You've seen the Spec Ops elites, you've seen the Ultras, the silver ones, you've seen the gold ones, the Shipmasters, or you've seen the Zealots. And that's it. Which could be the cloaked figures, or they could have a black reddish armor. That's it. Don't know why they're carrying it. Another thing, why the hell are Jackals carrying energy swords again? Come on now. And we're sending elites with the Jackals? Like, really? Like, no. Those need to be grunts. It just didn't make any sense to me at all. Don't understand it. Don't like it. Don't care for it. Don't know why that's happening. We need to get that changed immediately. The grunts, just... And then, why did we have to kill Vanic? I don't understand. He was probably the most developed Spartan out of everybody, as far as the most realistic acting Spartan character out of everybody. Better than Kai, better than Riz, better than the Chief. He was the realest of all the Spartans. And I get it, now we've kind of forced Soren into Israel, which I like Soren as a character. I do. I like the character a lot. But now we've kind of forced him into Vanic's role. Not really a big fan of that. Would have made more narrative sense for you to kill off maybe Riz, especially after her homeboy got blasted away. Would have made more narrative sense for her to go rather than Vanic. But hey, whatever. That's just my 2 cents on that. So overall, ladies and gentlemen, I'd probably say I give this episode, literally since it pulled on the spectrum of both sides, I give it a 5.5 out of 5. Give it a little bit more on the decent edge for the simple fact that the non-stop action definitely drew me in. The camera shots and angles and the fighting, you know, outside of kind of my nitpicky stuff about the elites being everywhere, carrying energy swords. Oh, and one other thing too. Shout out to Hidden Experia that he made a mention of too, and I didn't notice it right away until I did a rewatch. But when the Scorpion fires the cannon shot to light up the area so they can see the Covenant coming when they're outside the space station, elites were moving kind of funny. They weren't moving in like a swift and methodical way. They were almost moving, I think Experia said something along the lines of like the Flood. They were moving very similar to like the Flood and like this barbaric sense. Like the Flood or the Brutes would kind of move based upon like their characters and how those characters act. However, the elites move more methodical, tactical, sly, stealthy, things of that nature. Got a little more swag to their movement. But they were kind of moving like barbaric warriors, and you know, just little things like that. And then I think he mentioned something along the lines of it'd be cool if they used original sounds for all the guns. That way we could recognize and hear the type of weapons that people are using. Like if we could hear a Marine filing a BR or a DMR, assault rifle, Magnum, sniper, rocket launcher, chain gun, whatever it may be. And then also using the original sounds for all the alien weapons as well, the Covenant weapons as well, whether it be plasma rifle, plasma pistol, whatnot, because I think actually that was a very good job at doing it, was the people that made Halo Forward Unto Dawn, that movie. Those people actually used the correct sounds for those guns, therefore it sounded pretty awesome. Pretty on point. But overall, yes, I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a 5.5. Again, sorry, it's kind of all over the place, but just, yeah, that's kind of where my mind was. Like, action, everything, phenomenal, but just some of the story choices and things they decided to do, not necessarily the big fan of. But we'll see what we get in the next episode. Episode 5, we will see what happens. But this is going to be Halon signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought. Do you like the narrative story they're telling, or are you just like me and just a fan of the CGI and hope that that can carry you enough to make it to the end? But I'll see you guys in the next episode.